Hi, I'm Shane. Welcome to my shop. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the Lucas number 41 horizontal boring mill sitting behind me here. Seemed to be a lot of interest in that in previous videos, and I just thought I'd give you an update on where I'm at with it, where I'm going with it. Second thing, trying out wireless mic setup. So hopefully the sound quality is a little better. Hopefully you can hear me better. Got to turn the volume up, cut to the next scene, machining, and turn it way down, make the neighbors angry, all that. Also, last video was a little shaky. There was comments on it. I did obtain a taller tripod, so hopefully nobody gets seasick this time around. I'll try that out, see if I can get you a little better quality video. So as far as the mill goes, I still haven't leveled it. It is powered up, it is running. I've been working a lot with the lubrication system. I've been working with sourcing tooling for it, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I've got done so far, what I plan to do. So give me a second here, I'll get you flipped around, bring you back. Alright, first and foremost, thing I'm probably most excited to have in the shop now is this Wallhopter UPA 5 boring and facing head. What's cool about this is, it'll do it'll move two full inches. It has 12 of these little pinholes. Each pinhole is good radially for 4 10,000ths. So over a diameter 8 10,000ths. So if you push them all, you have a range from 8 10,000ths to 8 10,000ths to 96 10,000ths of feed range per rev, which I think is pretty cool. It's a lot more versatile than the one I have now, or I previously had, which I still intend to use because it's nice in its own respect. It came with all these boring bar holders, extension pieces. These boring bars. Oh boy. Okay. Something's wrong with that. I believe this one will slip in easy. Yeah, it's a nice tight fit. They're for your 1/4 inch high speed steel ground tools, which are, for a machine that moves at the RPMs this moves at. That's pretty good to have. That's probably mostly what I'll be using. But if I do decide I want to use, something like that, nice boring bar, it came with all these split bushings. And I believe this ribs here, I think that gets locked in with these bolts, the upper bolts. I think you can lock that in with them and then clamp with the lower bolts. So that's pretty cool. Lots of options, things to do with that. The one thing about that head is it's NMTB 40 taper. These boring heads, facing heads, are non-interchangeable shanked. So previous owner made an adapter just for a 2-inch tool holder. So a couple ways I can go about that. I can machine, my 40 taper and then a Morse taper 5, and then heat treat it and grind it. Challenge there is going to be making the tang and still having the ability to bolt it down. It's still doable, but it's going to be more difficult. And you don't want to run something like that in a spindle, without that tang, because that's the taper's good for so much, but if it would slip, you don't want to tear your spindle up. So try and only use tang tools in something like this. Yeah, so what I'll probably do this tool holder here, you can see it's kind of gooned up. It's not very good looking. And upon checking it with the 4 boring bars that came with the machine for line boring, they don't fit really well. So I'll probably end up machining those all down to that same 2-inch. Boring this out, maybe make it a little bit deeper, cleaning it up, make it a little more pretty, and utilizing that with maybe 2 set screws. That go on this flat spot here. I think that's how I'm going to go about that. Another thing I picked up at an online auction, which honestly I thought they were a hair bigger. They were not, but they're still useful, just not for what I intended. All these cast iron setup blocks, they were pretty rusty when I got them, so I cleaned them up. I'm probably going to grind them all in. Kind of undecided. Depends on what I intend to use them for. But honestly, I don't know if you can see or not, table cleaned up really, really well on this machine. There's one gooner that somebody put in that was hidden under that big jig that was on it. If you can see that. Right here, there's a mill mark. And I don't want any more in it, so like I said, it's probably good to have those. So this, right here, Bridgeport number 2 boring head with a 5 Morse taper shank. So that I think I showed you in the last video. That'll be a welcome addition to this machine. So bought that, and I know that in the last video I showed you that boring bar. It's a left-handed boring bar, so that it works in that, in this orientation. And I picked another one up in a 3/4 size. Little work in this other head over here I'm about to show you. But wanted to point them out. I think they're really nice quality, and they're a really fair price. It's somewhere around $40 on eBay. A company called Mesa Tool. I didn't really look into it. I don't know if it's just like a guy that makes them and sells them on the side, or if it's a company, but you can see it's the tip of the tools on the center line of the tool holder, which is, I'm on focus, which is also nice. But going back to that, actually this, and if I have to, I mean that's what's nice about the wall hopper. I can just kind of slide any old boring bar into one of these split bushings and then clamp it down in that head, and that'll work out for me. Bring you up a little bit here. This is the other head that I said I'm just going to show you. This is a Chandler duplex boring and facing head. Now this one I believe is 3 thousandths per rev. I believe it's a fixed. It's only 3 thousandths per rev. That's all you get. That's which is nice. It makes a nice finish. The wall hopper has a little bit more versatility. Like say you want a little bit rougher finish, you can feed it a little bit faster. For something that might have a gasket or something that you need a little more bite in the surface to help seal the gasket better. This came to me kind of crudded up, kind of a mess. Cleaned it up as best as I could, oiled it, lubricated everything. Made this little handle for it so that when you're running it, you're not trying to grab this slip ring, because this will beat the crap out of your hands right here. I just wasn't a fan of that. I'll show you that running then here towards the end. But going over what I did so far, what I've been doing. As you can see, Got the ways table cleaned up really good. Everything was painted that shouldn't be painted. Like, this ring was painted. You know, there was paint all here, paint on all your oil gates. Yeah, this whole top was painted. I did clean up these and paint these. Clean my plaques up a little bit so I could see. It's the most important thing to me anyhow, is to be able to see your plaques, see your controls, be able to touch it without getting dirty, you know, every single time you use it. I've polished up, you know, your control handles, or most of them. Polished the spindle a little bit. I did clean up the gooner marks that were here, you know, from just using a cap head screw. Another project I have to do, the shank for this boring head doesn't have a retaining hole, and I absolutely, using a boring or facing head on one of these machines, think you should have a retaining bolt. So I have made a small center punch mark, and I made it with this rotated so the tang was where it would be if you were putting pressure on it, spinning the correct direction, if that makes any sense. So I have to get this out, set this up, drill a hole here. I'm gonna try for just a drilled reamed hole, so it's nice and tight. It holds everything in nice and tight. And I think that would be an effective way to use that tool. Other things I've been doing, like I said, I've been lubricating it. A lot of these oil gets didn't have the wick in them, so I got some wick material over here. I've just been cutting wicks in the ones that require them, and replacing those and lubricating and cleaning all the other ones. I've been using Velicite number 6 oil for, you know, things that rotate, spindles, rotating shafts, because it's a little bit thinner. It doesn't heat up so much like on a spindle. That's probably what you use if you have a Bridgeport in your spindle bearings. And Vector number 2, a little bit thicker, a little stickier. Use that for your sliding surfaces and your ways. It does a fantastic job. I think that's what most companies recommend, most machines recommend. Yeah, so that's where I'm at with the HBM. You can see it's still kind of dirty. Undecided whether or not I want to repaint it or not. I may flake the worst of the paint off and run with it. I may just clean the controls up and run with it. See this? That has all new. If you can see them or not, it has all new wicks in it. New oil. Hand controls are looking pretty good. So what I'll do, I'll go fire the VFD up and focus in on the Chandler duplex boring head that's in there, the facing head, and I'll show you that in operation, because that's pretty cool, and there's some points to be made with that. So hang tight, I'll bring you back. Alright, I'm back. Fired the VFD up. I'll fire the machine up here in a moment. Spindle's engaged. So you notice that thing kind of whipping around, and that's kind of a little, you ought to be apprehensive of that, and you should be very careful when operating a machine like that. So the way you want to grab a hold of that is with an open hand. Just 2 fingers on that, and when it reaches the end of its stroke, it's going to stop. So you don't want to have a closed hand on it because you don't want yanked into the machine. Just 2 fingers on it, maybe 3, I mean whatever, open hand, so that you can grab it, you can run it, and when it grabs the end of its stroke, you kind of see it's advancing, slowly advancing. I mean, you know, 3 thousandths per rev. It's advancing. I'm just gonna let go. Same thing goes for, you know, when you're at the end of the stroke. What I like about the idea of that is I can kick this pin right here out. Once this pin's out, like right now, it's not engaged at all. It's not turning. There's six holes in the gear that runs your cross-feed mechanism, and this locks into that gear. If this isn't locked in, it doesn't turn this screw. It doesn't let it face. But you can manually turn the screw. So you can use this as a boring head. And then while remaining concentricity with whatever it is that you're boring, if it needs a faced flange, you can pull back and just face the flange. The other thing with this head, it'll do 1.5 inches, whereas the wall hopper will do 2 inches. And I'd like to get one that'll do a little bigger, but you know, for my purposes now, I think that's more than adequate for whatever I'm going to use it for. But I thought that was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool head. You can get these for, I mean, pretty much anything. You can get an R8 shank on it. You can get, you know, Cat 50, NMT 50, NMTV 50, 40, whatever. Pretty much any shank you could want on them, you can get on them. And those ones are interchangeable. I believe every Chandler duplex has an interchangeable shank, whereas a good portion of the wall hoppers, to my research, don't. So you're stuck with what you got. That's why I have to adapt that. Otherwise, I just, you know, buy a shank and use it. I mean, I could always make an adapter too that would involve boring the NMTB 40 taper, making slots for the dogs, and then probably machining and grinding the 5 Morse taper probably after hardening. Probably machine it, harden it, and then grind it. So that's how that would have to work. And I could do that if I really have to, but I really think it's going to work in the 2-inch tool holder. Well, what will be freshly machined 2-inch tool holder. The only ones I can find online now are like $300, and I just, right now, I don't want to spend $300 on a tool holder, especially if I can make one. Aside from that, yeah, pretty much just trying to get this thing running, trying to get it making money, or at least making chips, or at least making fun. So that's where I'm at, and I continue to be. Still haven't found a tailstock. I have some plans to make a tailstock, but nothing really set in stone yet. You know, for the time being, I mean, a large angle plate would probably work fine. I was kind of figuring on something like that, and then maybe scraping it flat, making it keyed to the table, which would also key to that extension table on the back. And then with the machine, you know, actually machining the slot and everything. But I need to find a big enough piece of cast iron I could do that. So, probably keep looking a little bit here to see if I can locate and talk somebody into selling me a whole tailstock setup. But like I said before, I got my doubts. I think I'm going to be making one. All right. I guess that being said, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to comment, like. It really helps the channel, helps the algorithm. Might get my content a little bit more views on YouTube. Also wanted to make a note, if you're interested in the gear cutting, the helical gear cutting, which I have another project to do. I recently made a playlist on my homepage. If you go to my YouTube homepage, of the whole procedure, and it's fair. To be honest, I wish I would have waited a little bit to got a little bit more proficient at making videos, editing, had more sound, better sound quality, better video, everything like that. But maybe I'll come back to that sometime. But there is a playlist now, so you can go through all of that. So, alright, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping in, and I'll see you on the next one.